Hi, everybody. I am Blake Cabot. I am the owner of facepaint.com, and I have the, as always, fantastic privilege of having the superhero in face painting, Mr. Corey Morgan. And he is going to be showing us the Hulker. I wore in green for just this occasion. Okay. So, Corey, with that, take it away.
All right. Hey, good to see everybody. I have I'm excited and a little nervous, in equal measure. Excited because I'm always happy to get out in front of the camera and teach some new stuff and just show everybody what I've learned, what I know, and try to help everybody get better. Slightly nervous because Hulk is one of my, I won't say it's one of my least favorite characters to paint. Used to be. Like, I used to refuse to teach the Hulk because it was that difficult for me to be able to paint. It's not like painting a mask. I'm literally painting an entire face on top of somebody's face that's already there. And it gave me all kinds of trouble. But I believe that I've, figured out enough that I can at least teach this design or a couple of different variations to it, give you guys some hints as to how to, really get that Hulk going. Because I know for a lot of folks, you can raise your hand or comment and hit the comments and let us know how much you absolutely love or hate painting the Hulk. I don't have my Hulk shirt on. I got my Amazing Spider-Man shirt on, but I got a green screen in the background. So hopefully that'll help. I'm about to give the chair up, and my beautiful niece Narlia is going to sit in, and she's going to take. We're going to take. She's going to take my first chair, and we're going to do a really good Hulk half face design. So let me switch out the chair, and Miss Narlia is going to have a seat. We'll get our camera zoom back in, and we are going to get to work.
Okay.
Let's see here. All right. Is this good? You need to come in, pull in some more?
No, that's perfect.
That's perfect. All right. We're going to let perfection go.
Center it just a that.
Center just a little bit.
Yes, the other way. There you go. Perfect. Okay.
That's good.
That's good.
All right. All right. So we're going to do our
J9 says, I like the Hulk, but the whole face is harder. Hello, Kel.
Yeah, the whole face is harder. What we're going to do for the purpose of the class, we're going to do a half face, and you just paint the other half the same way you painted the first one. And we'll throw in, I'll throw in some tips and some tricks as we go along to, really help to, build out this, design. So what we're going to do, we're going to be painting. We're going to do a half face Hulk design. In fact, it's going to be similar to the one that you see on the advertisement for our for this class. So the first thing we're going to be doing is I've got my sponge loaded. I've got my Fab light green. I don't know which one it is, but it's light green.
Okay.
Now, I'm not really married to the specific color, but that's what it's going to be. The first thing I'm doing here, because we're going to do like most of the whole face, but what I'm going to do is try to flesh out, or at least pull out the parts where we're going to be doing the Hulk's mouth, because the Hulk always has this sneer on, and he's got to look like he's upset, because that's what the Hulk is. He's always in some form or fashion, some frame of mad. And so that's what we're doing here. You can see I pretty much left out the space where we're going to add in Hulk's teeth. And then we're just pretty much going to run through the rest of the, bring in the rest of our, our green to cover the rest of the face. And then we're going to add
J9 says she only does a half face. I'm not, and she just says the other half's Bruce Banner. So there you go. That's one way of doing it.
Exactly. I'll be honest with you. I almost only do a half face Hulk design myself. I don't, I'll do a full face one, but we're going to charge extra for that one in most cases. Although there are ways to do, real simple full face design. I'm not sure if I'm going to have, all the time in the world to do all that today. But right now, I'm just using my sponge. I've got everything loaded. Hope you don't mind getting paint on this ring. Okay. And we got our sponge, and you can use a kabuki brush if you want. I just don't happen to have a kabuki brush in front of me, but the sponge does everything else, everything that we wanted to, everything that kabuki brush is going to do, and it's filling up the space there. Like I said, you see, I've left open the area of where where we're going to put those teeth, and we'll flesh that out and add all the detail in. Right now, turn your head to your right.
Okay.
You're seeing pretty much we're just our coat of green there. And ladies, if you got questions as we go along, by all means, put them in. I can't see them in the comments, but Blake can see everything, and he will
see everything.
He'll put them out.
Yep.
As always, my classes always have room for stand-up comedy material. If you've got stuff that people have said to you during an event, and you wonder what would you say to this, it was always time for Mr. Corey's snappy answers to stupid questions, as they used to do in the old Mad magazine. So if you got some stuff you want to see what my response would be, what you can use, by all means, toss that out there.
Okay.
So now we've got our design, our Hulk design here with just our green. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in some black. I am trying to see if I have a black star blends with me.
We're not sure. It's just a light green. We're not sure which light green that is.
Yeah, I don't have the exact color of light green for it. I don't know exactly which color it is, but we're just going to go ahead and run with light green, and that's what we've got. In the meantime, I'm going to shade in above Narlia's eyes. Because in the process of getting our Hulk design done, we've also got to, as I've mentioned with like my Spider-Man designs, one of the main things that shows a character's what the character is thinking, how they're feeling, is their eyes. Not just the mouth, but the eyes. Especially in Spider-Man, where he doesn't even have, you can't paint his mouth. So you've got to use his eyes. So for the Hulk, one of the things we got to make sure we do is show that he's angry. So I'm using my black paint. The black paint that I'm using, it could be Wolf Black, Fab Black, it can be DFX, Party Explosion, which is my personal favorite. And Party Explosion, in fact, facepaint.com is about the only place I know where I can find Party Explosion, especially in the States. So we got that on. I used to blend that paint in, I used let me see if I can get lined up on the camera here.
There you go.
I just used a regular smoothie blender, which you can get these, also at facepaint.com. You usually use those for powders, but they work just as well with with paint to help get your to spread your paint out. I'm going to go ahead and try to do some work here with the eyebrows. And again,
someone said some start go with the teeth and go from there.
Say again?
Deha says some start with the teeth and they go from there.
I'm sure some do. And we absolutely can start with the teeth and go from there, but I'm going to do it this way tonight. And honestly, it's like you're not married to doing it exactly in this order. It's not going to be, it's not that big of a problem if you decided you wanted to do the teeth first. I just happen to want to, do some of the work as far as getting our eyes done, some of the outlines done. Because the teeth, we're gonna have some fun with doing the teeth in such a way that we can paint, really make that look as realistic as possible. So there's certain things I want to get out of the way, and so that we can really, have fun with some of these extra details. Okay. With our, with we got our eyebrows, but Hulk always looks mean. You can, you got the eyes scrunched, but maybe you got somebody that's just really beautiful like Narlia here, and she can't make herself look mean and ugly even if she wanted to. All right, maybe she can,
No,
but
no, she can't. She really can't.
we can. She,
That
you
wasn't
can
it.
tell. You can tell she looks good even with this green and black paint on, and so what I'm drawing in some of these wrinkles, and and it's real easy to do the wrinkles on somebody like me who's 53 and has some wrinkles. I can just scrunch my face up and you can see them and just paint right in there. Now they don't have no wrinkles yet. He's gonna, so we have to figure out where they might be and just add them in.
So what you're trying to tell me is it's easier to paint ugly on ugly people.
Man, that's why I paint myself all the time. It works.
I think that can't be true. I think that can't be true.
Okay.
I don't want to believe that.
No, it works. It works on certain levels, and to be able to put those wrinkles in where they already are. But in certain cases, we can add those in. Right now, what I'm doing here in this black, I'm adding in the temples for for the Hulk. What you're going to find is a lot of this is very similar to how you would paint if you were doing a skull design. Mm-hmm. You're doing a lot of the same things. You're painting the temples in. We're going to, I thought I had my black Star Blend powder with me, and I don't, so I'm using paint. I'm using black paint instead, which is just and I'm fine with that because it just means that we can see that those are things that we can still, those are things we can use if we don't have that, those powders available to us.
They want you to zoom out, weirdly enough, a little bit.
They want me to zoom out some?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Patty, the green was a paint. We're not sure which paint, but
it is it's from Fab Superstar, but the exact green I'm not sure. It's not the north. It's a light green that we're using here to be just to provide a contrast. Because Hulk's face is not dark green. Mm-hmm. It's going to be light green. Okay. So right now I'm also painting like getting in the jawline around here, just like we would do if we were doing a skull.
Okay.
We're bringing that around to the outside of the outside of the face here. Uh-huh. We're going to square off that jawline, because one of the things that has always been difficult for people to do in painting the Hulk is the fact that we are painting a whole nother face on top of a pre-existing face. It's not like we're doing a mask where it would look like, say, Narlia is just going to be Captain America, and we're just painting a Captain America mask on her. We're actually painting, the Hulk's face on her own. Uh-huh. And so what we're going to do is, at least we got that fleshed out. Turn your head a little bit to your right. You can see we've got ourselves, an outline for our, for our Hulk's face here.
Uh-huh.
And now let's have some fun with getting these teeth done. We're going to add more details in as we go along. But for the Hulk's teeth, what do I have here? I've got. Oh, I'm trying to pull out the right brush for this. And I had it sitting here, so of course it moved. All right, so I'm using in this case, this is a paint. This is a flower brush from Leanne's Rainbow. Leanne Courtney does phenomenal stuff with butterflies and flowers and things, and I'm using her flower brush. We're going to use that in our white paint. Mm-hmm. Because what I'm not going to do with our Hulk's teeth, I'm not just going to fill all this in white. We're going to actually attempt to actually put these teeth in here. Mm-hmm. we're gonna do some here using our brush. I'm gonna turn it over. I'm gonna turn it upside down. We can get it, looking like our teeth are coming, are coming down through the gums. And then from here, I'll go ahead and fill. I'll go ahead and fill that in.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I want to hear. If something doesn't make sense, y'all let me know.
Okay.
I want y'all to say something because my goal with these designs is that you guys will be able to actually paint them yourself. I've
That'd
got
be
my
great.
red.
That is the goal.
That is exactly the goal. I've got my red.
Carla loves this technique.
Oh, excellent, Carla. I appreciate it. Thank you. I've got my Fab red, Fab Rage red, and a number 4 brush. Does not have to be a number 4. That just happens to be the brush that I picked up. And I'm painting in the gums, for Hulk. I'm not painting them all in because obviously as the sneer gets closer to the lips, the lips will be covering the gums up. I'm even going to maybe pick up a little black to just kind of.
Sarah says, totally forgot this was today. Glad I hopped on Facebook. I love Corey's super hero paints.
Oh man, well, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you remembered.
I am too.
So I picked up some of the some black just to darken this red up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I'm not bringing the red all the way out. I am actually going to fill the rest of this
Terry
in with black.
loves your shirt, by the way.
Oh my goodness. I have got a shirt similar to this that I would, for almost every day of the month. Eventually it'll be every day of the year. So that is what I call business attire for my dream job, which I'm living right now.
That is awesome. How do you prevent the white from bleeding into the red and the black?
Actually, you're seeing me do that right now. It did bleed a little bit, so I go back over it. I'm literally going back over some of that red with my white paint so that it can, so that it can go back over that red. So for the most part, you are going to try your best to, for it to not bleed through, to try to have your precision as perfect as possible so that it doesn't bleed. But, in those cases where it does, you just, you go back and do touch-ups. You touch the colors up. I'm going to go ahead and, just paint this line here to kind of show where the top of the teeth, the top of the bottom row and the bottom of the top row are. I may even, and I've got for this, the thin brush I'm using, I've got a blazing brush by Marcelo Bustamante, a zero liner is what I'm using, like for some of my, some of these, some of these small effects here. And I'm just going to maybe tap a little bit, put a little bit on, where the red is, and using my Snoopy blender here, I'm going to, just kind of blend some of that out a little bit.
Okay.
I can even use, if you have a brush, a small brush, this is a bolt brush, a small firm blender. Let me see if I can get this thing on the camera.
Not yet. Not yet. Missed it. There you go.
There it is. I'm getting it. So that's what this is. A yellow handle, and it's a blender. I keep this brush dry. And I can use this to, if I can put some of this white down, it will allow me to be able to, if the white is wet, I can use this blender and, just kind of blend in some of that white.
Right.
So we can get some, just get some more effects with that, for our gum. Because obviously they're not going to be just all straight red. This might be, glistening a little bit. I'm not going to have the whole drooling or anything yet.
Right.
I guess that'll be more for the advanced version. I'm going to try one thing. Let me step off camera for 1 second here. Hope I didn't kick this thing over.
No, you kind of did though.
Kind of did. Well, we'll
Okay.
fix it.
Okay. Center it a little bit more. It's kind of off to the left, and yeah, still a little bit more. Move more to your left, please. There you go. Still a
All
little
right.
more left. Sorry.
All right, I'll fix it. I got the. I had to run
Yeah.
off camera. You see, you wanted to.
More to the left. There we go. Perfect. That's where we want.
That's perfect. All
Yeah.
right. All right. So what I did, I went and got my black star blends because I did want to use that where we have our jawline, just to kind of put some extra shadow down here at the bottom. As you can see now, giving a little bit more real, giving a more realistic touch here, having that jawline come out. We're adding some extra. These are those extra touches that are going to really set your design off. When people are looking to see what you do that stands out from what everybody else does.
Right.
Now, I'm going back.
Hello, Candy.
I think in every class I give my analysis of what separates the face painter at any event from the other face painters. I think by now just about everybody can probably recite it with me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead. I've got my zero, my Marcelo Bustamante zero blazing brush here, and I'm going to work on the outline of the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the lines down here, and you can see I'm going out past the mouth, because what we're doing here is we're going to add some extra some extra depth to the Hulk's lips.
You said depth, not depth, right? Just to make sure.
Yeah, depth.
Yeah, because depth we don't encourage at face paint.
We're not killing the Hulk in this one. That is not the issue we're working on today. So we're adding, like I said, we're adding these lines, and there's so much more that I could do. As I do this, I say, oh, what if we added this? What if we added this part? And there's a lot that we could add on to, but I also know that we're short on time. And one of the lessons I always teach people is you also got to know when to stop.
Yeah.
Because you can add additional touches to any design and it improves it, but then there's a point where you need to know when to quit.
You got to get off the field.
Exactly. Let the rest of the design speak for itself. You do too much, you wind up losing you lose your design, and you kind of you start instead of trying to add things to improve it, you're adding things to try to fix what you broke. And nobody wants to be in that position.
Right.
So I've got my smoothie blender, and I've got my white star blend. You can also use yellow as well. I just don't happen to have my yellow powder in front of me.
Uh-huh.
I'm not trying to overdo it either. We're just giving a little bit more. You know what? We're in a class. We are learning stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and take the risk. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my sponge and my yellow paint.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I am often nervous when I do the Hulk because I only recently started getting this design right, not too long ago. So I'm blazing new ground, at least for myself here. So we're adding, just some yellow into our green. I'm using the edge of the sponge to just kind of blend it out, where so that green has just some good highlighting on it.
Uh-huh.
At the top of the cheekbones, and I'm bringing it around here. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish this off because we're pretty much done. Again, if you guys have questions of anything that you see, let me know. And
Okay.
go ahead and add some definition to where the teeth are. I could even, if I wanted to, because I did find my yellow powder, I could even, if I wanted to, take my smoothie blender and tap some yellow, onto the Hulk's teeth, because he probably doesn't brush and floss as often as he should.
No,
So,
no, he really doesn't. I mean, teeth
you
care is
know,
just not what he's known for.
he's
I've
probably
watched
busy
a lot of
picking.
superhero movies, and I have never seen anybody floss.
Yeah, Hulk's probably busy picking villagers out of his teeth anyway. So,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah, it can be a bit. It can definitely, be a bit ugly in there.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
So I'm taking my white paint. Again, this is my uh, Party Explosion or Wolf White, whichever white you manage to get, just to add some extra, some extra highlights to, over where our black paint is. I'm putting these under under our black. How are we looking on time?
We're good. We've got 33 minutes left.
Oh man, okay, yeah, we're in good shape.
We're
some
making progress, as they say.
We're in good shape. Good, good, good. And I want to give this design as much attention and respect as I can, because this is a difficult one to do, that Hulk, and I want to make sure that we all have a good foundation to really make that Hulk work. It's something that I've always had difficulty doing, so I want to make sure that we all can jump out there and get out there at this next party and really make that Hulk shine.
Makes sense.
Okay, so if we turn our head to your right, we have got ourselves a pretty good angry half Hulk face. And as I said before, I don't need to do the other half because it's pretty much the exact same thing as this first half we've got here. You're going to, and in fact, I'm going to give you guys an even cooler hint as far as the Hulk, because the teeth is probably what people's least favorite part about painting the Hulk is. I mean, I know it is for me. And the cool thing about, go ahead, what?
As our beautiful Chaos says, how do you decide where to use the white highlights?
That comes with a lot of trial and error. I've studied comic book art, for as long as I can remember. So I look at a lot of the source material. And so I really look at where the highlights go. Like if you were to hold an orange up to the light, an orange, an apple or something, you can see where your highlights are because the light's going to light up part of that apple, maybe at the top or something like that. And then at the bottom where the light's not hitting it, that apple is a little bit darker. Right. I would encourage everybody, if you're looking at improving stuff like your superhero designs, look up actual comic book designs as opposed to face painting designs from of different superheroes, because you're going to see what the comic artists are actually doing with regards to putting on the optical illusion of creating a three-dimensional picture on a two-dimensional background, which is usually the comic book page. In order to do that and to create that effect, they have to be able to use, to use proper shading and highlighting in order for that to, in order to get that effect. I explain it to other people, like if they don't know where to put those highlights, all they're really doing is they're gonna wind up just garnishing their picture with white lines and dots, and now your brain's not going to be fooled as to what the actual design is supposed to be. In designs where I've made things look like metal, I put those highlights in a specific way that it makes the design look like it's shining. If I'm doing a Batman mask where it's looking like it was made out of leather, I'm making those highlights and those shading look like that like to the point where it looks realistic enough that I don't need to put a black outline around it.
Right.
So it's really it's stuff that you have to study, and it's stuff that I constantly work on. Artists like Dutch Bahari is a master at doing shading and highlighting. I learn from him every time I see his work. Those are things that I work on a lot to try to improve on. All right, so this here is our Hulk face. In fact, we're gonna see what our mirror moment looks like.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, the yellow on the
Islands.
teeth. That is awesome. That looks really nasty.
All right, so just look at the let's get ourselves. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, turn. So this is our half Hulk face.
Right.
My beautiful niece looking like she's mean and about to destroy the world. Oh, and here's the other part that I was going to show you. If you can see the, how weird that looks, that she's smiling, like she got a whole separate set of teeth. Here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you this before she gets up. Those of you who hate painting Hulk's teeth, you don't have to. You actually don't have to paint the Hulk's teeth, because the kid that's sitting in your chair usually comes with teeth when he gets there.
Mm-hmm.
So all you have to do, now they just found out one of the hardships of painting with me is that I oftentimes make my subject laugh while they're sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
But the kid already has teeth. Paint it without the teeth, and then just tell the kid to give you a Hulk face, and all of a sudden all of his teeth show up, and you didn't have to paint him at all. But if you want to get fancy and show these people what you can do, as far as what effect you can bring to your design, that's what we got. Let's look up one more time. And that is our big Hulk face, okay?
Now, there was a question earlier from Carla. She said, I once did this on a girl, and she requested some glitter. I put some black glitter on the eyes, and that was awesome. What is your recommendation for glitter on that?
On that? Let's see. Well, you know what? Definitely, you could put something on the eyes. I happen to have one of these big, that big fusion, the fusion palette.
Uh-huh.
We can put glitter. We got the dark green glitter. Let's see how that looks. Open our Leah's eyes. Keep your eyes closed. We'll put some of that on here.
Oh, you're blocking the camera in a bad way.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't look good, but y'all never be able to see it. I can lie to you, and you won't know nothing. So we've got our. Let's turn your head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our dark green glitter from our fusion tablet there.
Mm-hmm.
We can even put it over here where the temples are.
Uh-huh.
We've got all kinds of there's all kinds of extra effects that you can do with your with this glitter to really jazz it up. So the sky's the limit. If you want to add just even if you just use the translucent glitter, the white glitter.
Uh-huh.
We put that. I've got that right there on her nose. Turn your head. Let's see if the light catches it. Maybe not. So there's any number of things that you can do to glitter up a superhero design. It's like I don't normally do it, but I'm glad she mentioned it. That's absolutely stuff that you can add on. And again, this is stuff nobody's doing. So when you do it, you are blazing new ground. You are putting yourself in a position where no other face painter in your area is doing. And all that does is make you look that much better, make you that much more marketable.
We in facepaint.com encourage that. Sarah says, fantastic. It's great seeing it broken down like this. Really helpful.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Go ahead and get your deeper.
You gonna take my picture?
We're gonna do these pictures.
Yeah. Get my picture. Come on, baby.
All right. So next we're gonna have one of my regular models, my sister-in-law Deidre. We're gonna do. Yeah, I insist. Sit down, make yourself comfortable. All right.
I gotta take my glasses.
Mm-hmm. Get your glasses off. Let's see if we can change our camera. All right, look straight ahead. And so for Deidre's design, what we're going to do here, it's going to be a similar design, but it's just going to be a forehead design. Nothing is going to go below the eyes. Mm-hmm. The kid says they want to be the Hulk. And This may be like the one I just did that's your $20 design. That's your $20 Hulk design.
Mhm.
Right here, we're just going to do our $15 Hulk. That's not to say that
Nat
this
says
thing
that
is
was
only worth
totally cool.
$15. Be worth far more than that.
Mhm.
But we're going to do our forehead design. And the cool thing about that is that this is an easy design to do.
I think you might have to
Again,
move the camera up a little bit if we're doing a forehead
move
design.
move it up, you said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because my forehead is at the top of it.
Let's see if I can get this right. If I can do this without dropping the entire thing. Uh-oh. Did I get it right on the first try? Is that good?
That's good.
That's
very
good? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Um,
We need to move back. Do we need to zoom in? We good? Let
no,
me know.
you're absolutely fine now.
All right, that's good. Let's get to work then. I don't have my kabuki brush, but I've got my sponges. And we're going to go back to our light green. I don't know whether it's FAB. I don't know if they have something called lemon lime or something like that. Because I've repotted my paints so that I don't necessarily have the original pots and the colors. Go ahead, close your eyes for me. So everything we're doing here is just going right. It's just going right to the forehead. This is going to be interesting because it'll be real interesting if Deidre gets stopped or gets pulled over on the way home.
Aren't you already home?
Well, I mean, home is where the heart is, and if she wants to stay here, she absolutely can. She got her own place. She got to get back to, eventually.
Okay.
She got a beautiful family, 2 beautiful daughters and some grandkids. So she may not be in as much of a rush to get back as you think, but she knows she got to get back there eventually.
I'm hearing
Maybe
you.
she'll go back there. If she doesn't get pulled over on the way home, she will at least get to shock everybody else when she walks into the house. Although they are probably used to you coming at home like this after one of my sessions. So, tip your head down a little bit. Right there, that's most of the design right as it is. And I'll probably add in some dark green, so we have our, Hulk's, face, Hulk's hair on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've got my Star Blends powder, I ran earlier and kicked the camera on the way out. We are going to go and work on these eyes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use my smoothie blender, my black Star Blends powder, and we're going to do what I was talking about before, which is shading those eyes in and really giving Hulk that menace, that menace. You got to make sure, and there's definitely a trick to making sure that the Hulk looks as as mean and menacing as possible. You have to get those eyes, those brows, the eyebrows and the wrinkles angled right, because if you put them in the wrong direction, you're gonna have Hulk looking like he's just concerned or worried. And
you don't, and Hulk is strong. Hulk isn't strong.
Yeah, not when he's worried about something. The madder he gets, the stronger he gets. The more worried he gets, the story really doesn't work. That's you're not going to get good ratings on that movie. So
No.
We have to make sure that our design, really does what it's supposed to do. So we've at least got the beginnings of our, of our eye shape done. I'm going to go ahead and use my brush.
Fusion lime green is a similar green to this.
It probably is. I would imagine it is. I mean, I don't personally own Fusion Lime Green, but I would almost expect that it would be.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to, work on getting our. I'm sorry, you have to forgive me if I either stutter or hesitate on my words. I actually grew up with a stuttering problem.
You and Joe Biden.
Because I spent a lot of time working on the cadence of my own speech. So sometimes it'll sound like I pause at specific, points while I'm talking, and that's to just make sure that I have the next several words that I'm about to use, in the lineup. Otherwise, there might be some dead silence as, I'm trying not to just stutter over the next thing I have to say. It's something that is not something that most people recognize that I've got now. And especially not notice if I've rehearsed my material before, coming out to work, to do this.
Okay, fair enough.
So we got our working on our, we're just working on our our brows and our wrinkles. I can even, we're even going to get a little fancy here because if I can, I'd love the opportunity to throw in my favorite, my favorite halftone dot stencil that you guys can actually get, by contacting me. At some point, I think Blake and I may talk about how we can stock them up at facepaint.com. But for right now, we're going to use my halftone dot stencil, because you can see at the bottom at the edge, turn your face to the right, you can see where the paint just stops here.
Right.
And while that can be considered acceptable, again, one of those flourishes that separates you. This is my halftone dot stencil. It looks similar to the old graffiti eyes stencil that used to come out. I've actually retooled this. I didn't just grab it and copy it. I've actually retooled it and brought in the pieces that really, that the stencils that I really enjoy using myself, and put them all on one stencil. We turn our head a little bit to our right. You can see now, bring our head down a little bit. It may be a bit difficult to see, but I've actually added those dots in, so we have sort of a gradient effect. Let's turn to the left now. I'm going to add the same here. I'm just using my paints. The key to getting these stencils right, don't overload your sponge with paint if you're using a stencil. Otherwise, the joint just bleeds. And we know that is almost never fun. You want to make sure that you pretty much underloaded your stencil so that you can, so that you're not, overpowering that. You're not going to overpower the paint or the stencil with that extra paint. Now, all I'm going to do now is get some dark green. Fortunately, I think that is the actual color that I'm using, just dark green. It's also from FAB, but any dark green will do, no matter what brand you're using. And turn your head back to the front, bring your head down.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and we can just add. I've got a number 8 brush here.
Awesome.
And we're going to go ahead and get our dark green hair in. I'm even going to add in the brows that we had, the temples on our Hulk. Bring it to the right a little bit. And we had, like we did on our previous design, I bring it back to the left.
Right.
This is with my Star Blends powder and my smoothie blender here. And I'm even going to shade using my smoothie blender. I'm going to shade in, just turn to the front. I'm going to use my smoothie blender and shade some of this black powder in over the dark green paint, just so that the hair doesn't just look like it's just bright, just this bright dark green on top, but it has that, that darkness to it, whether it looks like it's dark black with red highlights, or black with green highlights, or maybe green with black highlights. If I had more time, I could add more effects to it, but this is generally what we're looking to, the effect that we're looking to get.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I tell people is I can make this look like the masterpiece that you'll never be able to paint, but then that defeats the purpose of me teaching the class, because I want you to be able to go out and paint these designs yourself.
Sure.
You know,
Makes
as
sense.
opposed to being a show and tell of how great Corey is. I want this to be a tutorial on how great you can be.
Well, I think we should get both. I think we should get how great Corey is because he's got 15 minutes. And
Yeah,
I
right.
think, and we should get great designs. I don't think there's an either or here.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's what we're going to try to do. The good thing is that my final design is not going to take more than a couple of minutes at all. So we'll probably wind up ending early. But for me, ending early just means I got time to take more questions, talk to, like I said, you got any of those snappy answers to stupid questions. What do you do when such and such happens? This is the time. This is the time to ask me. Because I actually, at other conventions, I've actually done business classes where I've talked about certain situations that you may find yourself in, or certain, business practices to watch out for or to adopt in order to make your life as a face painting the administrative side easy. Amazingly enough, as boring as such a class sounds, class is actually hilarious. So right now, you can get part of that class for free if you got any questions.
Okay, so business questions. Come on, bring them on now.
Hit me up. All right. So, but in the meantime, we've got our Hulk forehead design.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show Miss Deidre the mirror here so you can see what you.
Me look.
That's right.
Yeah, it's me.
You can walk in, tell all them people in the house to get them dishes done.
Not that smile.
Will smash.
Look good.
All right. So that is our quick and easy Hulk forehead design. Let's turn our head to the side and see what we got there. And turn the other way. All right. And thanks again, Ms. Deidre.
Okay.
You are good to go. Here are your glasses. You can find your way back to the other room.
Yes, thank you.
And now I've got my final model about to walk in.
Victim.
And
that is just
that
terrible.
is my lovely wife, Miss Tanoa. I'm gonna take your glasses off.
Today is the no star blends day, right?
No star blends.
No star blends.
You don't want star blends? Well, we're not gonna put it on the floor. That's what we're. It might wind up on your face, but we're not gonna put it on the floor. That's what we're gonna do. All right. So this design, Blake, and everybody in attendance, is going to be the easiest Hulk
Liz
design.
says that was really cool.
Say again?
Liz says that was really cool.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad she liked it. This is going to be about the easiest Hulk design you've ever done. So the first design I did on my niece, Narlia, that was your $20 Hulk design. This one that I did on Deidre, the forehead one, that's your $15 design. This is going to be your $10 design. Okay?
I'm with you.
We are using Mr. Corey's Hulk stencil. And you can get this by hitting me up. Hit me up in my DMs. Let me know. I actually have a stencil group. If you look up Corey stencils, you can join the group. Ask to join the group. I've got all my stuff that I have available. And you can get this real easy. I'm gonna show you how easy this thing is to use. How much time we got left, Blake?
We got 11 minutes.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
You can do 2 of them in 11 minutes.
I can do just about everybody left in the house in 11 minutes on this. It's similar to, it's going to start out like the forehead design we did, where we're going to use our green paint, our sponge. I'm not going all the way down into the eyes. Okay.
That'd be wrong.
In fact, I'm maybe not going anywhere below the eyebrows. We're just going to cover the forehead here.
It almost looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja.
Like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Yes. If that were the class we were doing, it would probably be similar to this. Absolutely. You're right about that. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is next thing we're going to do with my Star Blends powder, my black powder, I'm going to use.
Okay, here's a business question. How do you handle a client who's asking for a price cut on a gig? I already discounted.
Well, it depends on what for. Because I've had people say, I tell them my price is $150 an hour, and they say, "Can I have a discount?" My next question is, for what? Now, depending on what it is that you're willing to go down to or how much they're first, normally I will tell people I generally do discounts if you're asking me to paint for 4 hours or more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they just want a discount just because they don't want to pay my full price, yeah, chances are that might be no.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to remember that no is a complete sentence. And you are, as the business owner, have a right to say no. Now, if you do feel inclined to give a discount, well, then, you know, you can drop them off about $10 or something. You can see here I've used, this is my other dot stencil.
Mm-hmm.
This here is another one of my favorites. And I'm just using that and my black on the bottom of our of our green here, just because it allows us to have something of a break where, again, between where that green is and where the black is, and it just has a really nice gradient effect to it. Okay. But yeah, as far as discounts go, you as a business owner, and that's the thing, you have every right to either grant a discount or refuse one. You don't have to, you are not obligated to give one just because somebody wants it.
Yep. Gilbert's answer is 10% next gig booking. So after the next one, maybe you'll get a discount. That's a good answer too.
Yeah, if this is your first design, maybe you need to be a repeat customer.
Uh-huh.
All right, so now working with my Hulk stencil, we're going to use this now because you see there is, I got Hulk's face and I've got one fist here and one fist here. You don't necessarily have to put everything on right where it is. The first thing I'm going to do is use the Hulk's face. I'm going to use my Star Blends powders because nobody likes, one of the things that people have a hard time with is using those stencils when you're using just paint. It may bleed through and it's hard to get that consistency right where you want to have.
Question. Are you ever asked for girl versions of superheroes? What would you recommend in that scenario? Any
superhero is a girl version of the male version of that hero. I would challenge most people to name a superhero that doesn't have a female version of that same hero. With certain characters, I say Captain Marvel. Actually, Captain Marvel has been a male hero in more than one occasion. Hulk, there's a She-Hulk. There's been 2 different female versions of Iron Man. There's been 2 different female versions of Wolverine, Captain America, Daredevil, Batman. All of those characters have female versions with their masks looking almost exactly like the male version of that character. I absolutely love when girls want to be superheroes because they absolutely can be. I find that a lot of times the parents don't recognize that there are female versions of these heroes. And how about this? If there isn't a female version of a hero and a child wants it, give it to them. All we're doing is face painting, and we're not etching their life story into their, onto their face forever.
We're not? Oh, shoot. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, you could absolutely do that.
Absolutely. I would challenge you. If you want to know the female version of any hero, ask me. I have not been stumped on superhero trivia in about 53 years. I can absolutely get you in and out of those arguments or those discussions with those parents. So we got our Hulk face here. I've got my fist. I'm going to put one over here.
Bella says, do we have those stencils at facepaint.com? No. Those are Corey's personal stencils.
These are my personal stencils, and you can contact me directly to get those. I'll happily sell them to you.
I believe he will too.
Oh man, with a smile on my face. Meanwhile, my smoothie blender broke, but it is still good enough to have produced our easiest Hulk design ever. Let me grab another one here. And I always keep like 20 or 30 extra smoothie blenders floating around in case something breaks. You can add, once we're done, we can even add some more of these dots. Just to give, not just to fill up the space, but, just to add some more, just to add more of an effect to it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Somebody asked about glitter before. We can always add glitter. I've got my green, my light green glitter from the Fusion palette. We can put that around the sides. Okay, look straight in. And like I said, this here, you can do anything you want with these. Like my Hulk stencil, I could have put that fist down here on the cheek, down here. I could, put some paint here, put the black fist here. There's all kinds of possibilities with this. You're not limited to having to put that face and these fists in the exact spot. I can put the face on the side of the on here. I can put the fists up here. There's any number of things you can do. And that design was like a 2-minute design if I wasn't talking. And it's $10. And they will pay it. They will pay it.
That is awesome. Connie says that's a great design, Corey.
I'm glad you like it.
And how do you handle? Oh, well, here's another question. How do you handle people asking for free face painting for charities, fundraisers, especially when it's somebody that you know? I usually do a couple a year, but it's always asked throughout the year.
There are certain events, like if you believe in the event and the charity and you don't have a problem painting for free, by all means do so. But if you don't want to, you can tell them you're already booked. You can tell them that you've already done your business allotment of free face painting for the year. You can ask them, because here's the thing. Nonprofits don't mean that they don't have money. It means they can't earn a profit off of what they make. Many nonprofits have grants, government, state, local grants where they're given money to put on their events. They have money. Many of them do. Some of them have nothing, but many of them do have actual money that they spend, and they will spend it on those things that they need to. You can suggest that that they sponsor you, that they sponsor your event, that somebody, maybe a business that is also connected with that charity, sponsor the time that you'd be spending it. You charge $150 an hour, you're doing 2 hours, $300. See if a business or a couple of businesses will sponsor that time. That way they pay you. The charity does not pay you. And you can put up a sign, or they can put a sign on your table saying face painting brought to you by, Bob's Restaurant, whatever. And you still get paid. The charity does not come off of any money, and you all the businesses who are sponsoring you, they look good.
That makes sense to me.
So I'm going to hold on, because I'm sitting there talking, and I didn't even show my wife picture the mirror moment.
Oh my God!
And this is great.
So there we go. I'm gonna sit back now. Now I'm gonna sit in the chair, because now you guys can see me. I mean, they're much prettier than I am, but you got me.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. You're plenty pretty.
I'm trying.
Okay.
All right. What else we got? I'm here.
I think that's it. We are out of time too, so this works out fine.
All right. Perfect.
Oh, I didn't get where to get them. You go to Corey Morgan, find him on Facebook. He'll guide you the rest of the way.
Send me a private message. If you do a Facebook search for Corey's Stencils, Coreys Stencils, that's my group, and just put in a request to join the group. I'm monitoring the group all the time. I'm the only admin, and it has everything that I have available. I also do custom stencils too. So if there's something that you don't see that you'd like to be made, it's really good if you're doing an event for a school or an organization and they have a logo, and you get a stencil made for that event, that makes you look like $1 million. And if you let them know that, if you ask them if they'd like a stencil, you can charge them what I would charge them for the stencil, so it doesn't even come out of your pocket.
Awesome. Okay.
Again, another business lesson.
Many business lessons. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Corey. As Bella says, you have a wonderful family, and thank you for sharing them.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm grateful for them every time.
Awesome. We're not here next Monday. We will be back here next Thursday for basics of brush Brush Strokes with Marcella Bustamante, as we were talking about.
Oh, that's gonna be
earlier.
fantastic right off the top.
Yep. And that's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. I'm going to be at the COAI convention in Niagara Falls. And I
Okay.
hope to see some of you there if you guys are clowning. So thank you very much. We'll have Corey back in November doing some cartoon characters. So
That's it. I'll have a new shirt too.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day, evening. Bye.
Right.